So this was not getting a lot of attention yesterday in Canucks forums and whatnot, so I wanted to dive into this on the YouTube channel. Satyr Shah and Bick Nazar on Canucks Central had none other than Trevor Linden on as a guest on the phone lines. And there's a lot to be said about what Trevor Linden spoke about in regards to the Vancouver Canucks and the direction that the team is going down right now. Obviously, we understand that Linden was a Vancouver Canucks legend in his own right, a total leader, one of the best captains to have graced this city, and a guy who had 2 stints with the Canucks organization as a player. He then became the president of hockey operations for the Vancouver Canucks for 4 seasons between 2014 up until 2018. And these were all pretty difficult years because Linden wanted the Canucks to go through a rebuild, but the Canucks, and the ownership in particular, did not allow Linden to get that done. Francesco wanted playoff revenue despite the team being bad in the 2016 season and the 2017 season and the 2018 season. And so, with all that said, Linden did not get the autonomy that he wanted, and Jim Benning, on the other hand, was really okay with it. Benning was like, yeah, okay, great. You want to make the playoffs? We can make the playoffs. We're going to make these moves to go out there and get that done. Don't worry, Francesco. Whatever you want, we'll make it happen. Jim Benning was with the Vancouver Canucks for much longer than the Trevor Linden experiment went with Vancouver. Benning was hired 14-15 as the GM, and then he was fired in 2021. He spent 8 long years with the Vancouver Canucks, pretty much agreeing with and following whatever it was Francesco Aquilini wanted. Now, obviously, I am not in the room. I am literally just a guy in my own bedroom sitting and talking about my favorite hockey team, but this is essentially the tale of the tape as it's been come to known over the past few years in Vancouver. So when Sportsnet 650 gets Trevor Linden on, and they get him talking about the state of the Canucks, obviously it provides us with some pretty unique insight. Taj went out there and tweeted a whole bunch of the quotes, and I just wanted to dive into a lot of these because they're quite funny. Linden was taking a shot at Benning and Rutherford in the same sentence. They're going to be able to provide a united front to ownership, which is absolutely critical. It's something that I didn't have, and something that I don't think Patrick Allvin had either. Obviously, he is talking about Henrik and Daniel Sedin, a united front before ownership gets involved, something that Linden is admitting he did not have. Maybe Jim Benning was totally fine with the owner coming in and suggesting moves and what direction to take the team in, but Linden saw it all the way back in 2014, 15, 16. He wanted the team to rebuild. He didn't think the team was good enough, yet they still made win-now moves, and they still made trades that held them back. Here's another post. Satyr Shah asked Trevor Linden how there seems to be alignment with Francesco Aquilini and what the Sedins are planning. How the owner came out and said, rebuild. Linden replied, it's easy to say that on day one when you're sitting there with Daniel, Henrik, and Ryan. There's going to be some tough nights, and that's when you need to stick with it. Tough nights indeed, eh? As we had mentioned in a video yesterday, so far, everything that ownership wanted, based on all the reporting and rumors, has not happened. They wanted to hire Gold. Guess what? That didn't happen. They hired Ryan Johnson. They wanted to keep Adam Foote. Guess what? That guy got fired yesterday. Ownership wanted to change up the AGMs and the scouts, but all of these people are reported to have been sticking around, and the scouts got contracts extended as well. So all of this stuff, ownership wanted to go the opposite way, but the Sedins were like, no, we're doing this our way. You gave us the autonomy, we're going to exercise it. That's a pretty interesting element to the conversation. Linden was then asked if he would have interest in working for the Canucks again. He laughed and he says no, he doesn't have any interest. He also spoke about how he had seen Patrick Allvin on Friday night, and he had a really nice talk with Allvin. I think it's pretty clear that Trevor Linden was a pro-Allvin guy and potentially an anti-Rutherford guy, but that's just me tossing arbitrary labels on it. This could literally mean anything if you wanted to work at it that way. And finally, there's this tweet. Linden took multiple indirect shots at Rutherford throughout the entire interview, and then at the end, he mentioned he had a nice chat with Allvin Friday. Just amazing. Top reply says that Allvin was always the smart and nerdy one. English being a second language hurt him in media availabilities, but if given a chance somewhere else, I'm sure he'd do great. He's too smart of a hockey mind not to. Wasn't meant to be in Vancouver, though, with Rutherford overlording everything. And I do think that that is one of the bigger elements to this situation here. Like, we all understand that Jim Benning was not great at making trades. He was great at drafting, but his trades were very, very hit or miss, and the hits were few and far between. Jim Benning was more so a victim to circumstances because he made terrible trades after an owner told him to make trades in that direction. Patrick Allvin, he gets the biggest benefit of the doubt we may have ever seen. He didn't get a chance to do anything as a Vancouver Canucks executive. Jim Rutherford was watching over everything, making all the important decisions, and Patrick Allvin the past 4 years has taken a back seat when it comes to actually doing things that a GM is supposed to do. Horvat versus Miller. Oh, let's go with JT Miller. Who made that choice? It was Jim Rutherford. Pettersson re-signing. That was Jim Rutherford's choice. Trading away Quinn Hughes, that was Jim Rutherford's trade. Allvin didn't have a hand in that trade conversation. So I do feel bad for Allvin as well, and I think Trevor Linden has an element of sympathy that he's expressing for Patrick Allvin in the interview too. But at the end of the day, just looking at the holistic idea that's presented here, you're not going to find 3 better people in the game than Ryan Johnson, Daniel, and Henrik. These guys are going to be able to look one another in the eye and trust each other. It seems like Trevor Linden is being very open and honest that these are the right guys for the job. The only question is whether or not it's going to be able to last as long as it should. Because for now, it does seem like the Sedins have the autonomy to do what they want. How long that's going to last? Who knows? Linden said he didn't have the autonomy, and he doesn't think Patrick Allvin had autonomy either. So with all that said, you can let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Jim Rutherford taking some shots here at the hands of Trevor Linden. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about Linden's legacy versus the actual tangible GM job of a Jim Benning? Linden's comments on the Rutherford and Allvin situation, how he's seeing the Henrik and Daniel presidency working out, and where do you think this is all going to go as the Canucks continue with this rebuild in 2026? Comment section is your floor. Let me know what you think. I hope you enjoyed this video. Sign on, and bye.